All right, we are live. Excited to be on today. Thanks so much for joining us on the You vs. You show. And this is a show that, as Americans and Canadians and about 140 countries right now, we're home and doing our social distancing. I'm definitely focused on adding as much value as I possibly can in my own, I guess you would call it a living room. I'm actually at my dining room. And really bringing on some amazing guest speakers to the You vs. You show to really show everyone that's watching how you can really kick your own ass and really win right now. Because right now, I think the temptation is apathy. There's like a wait period. When are we going to go back to work? A lot of you that maybe did not work from home, maybe you're in retail, maybe you are a real estate agent, or maybe you had a job and you're on furlough. This is definitely a time in our country and really a lot of other countries to make a pivot. And if you don't really know what that means, that's why we want to bring on some really incredible guests on the show to really help you that are sitting there watching, whether you're in your robe, your pajamas, or you're on the go, maybe you're on a run right now, wherever you're at. We just want you to get some value out of this. And our guest today is incredible. I've gotten the opportunity just to know her just for about 2 weeks. She is just impressive. And what I mean by that is she's very driven. And I want to have her share her story. But, for me, I've been coaching people for many, many years. And I know sometimes obviously our children are our biggest blessing. But through my own experience, I think a lot of times when parents, especially mothers, have children, I know that it's very overwhelming to do other things. So this is a person that has children. She is certified in what's called the emotion code and body code. She's building a business. She's a loving wife. She's a person of faith. And she's not even 30 years old yet. So it's just so impressive to see her drive and her determination and really getting the most from the inside out. So we have Kirsten right now. She's on. Kirsten Morley from Utah, I believe. You live in Utah, right?
Yes.
Beautiful state, Utah. I've been there many times. Love Salt Lake City. It's one of my favorite states in the whole country. And I'm just so excited to have you because I think you're going to add so much value today. But I wanted to just have you share just a little bit about your background, if you don't mind, before we get started with some questions. Who you are, kind of where you're from, all that good stuff. And then really, what you do. And I think we're going to really just share a little bit more about that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Todd. It is honestly a pleasure to be here. So like Todd said, my name is Kirsten Morley, and I am a certified emotion code and body code practitioner. I am a wife to Beau and a mother of 3 beautiful kids, and I absolutely love being with my family. But I've been doing the emotion code and body code for about 2 years now. And I actually originally got into the emotion code and body code because I had or just specifically into energy healing because I had ADD all growing up. I struggled reading all throughout school, and I struggled with the medication that I was actually put on because like all the symptoms were, it was not ruining my life, but I felt a slave to the medication because I became so dependent on it. Like I literally couldn't function without it. And because of the energy healing that I was introduced to, it not only like once I did the energy healing, I was not only able to go off the medication completely, but I no longer have trouble reading or with comprehending anything like that. So and then the next thing that the emotion code actually played in is, this is very, very personal to me, but a really big role that the emotion code played in was healing from betrayal trauma. And it really helped with my self-esteem, my connection to God. And now I am actually able to help people go through the same thing because nobody deserves to be going through the emotions, and they don't have to hold on to their emotional baggage. And I now help people with their relationships, the connections they have with each other, the anxieties and the traumas, all of that. So
Wow, it's amazing. So I want to get into that because right now, well, I think we're faced with a lot of traumas right now. We're faced with a lot of anxiety, and me included. And I've been a transformational leadership coach for a while. I've been on medication myself, and I was able to get off it through meditation and through a lot of the emotion code that you're talking about. And for somebody watching, they might not know exactly whether they're watching live. And if you guys are watching, thank you so much for being on. But if you might not know what the emotion code is, it's actually a book written by Dr. Bradley Nelson. Tony Robbins, if you're familiar with at least Tony Robbins, there it is right there. Tony Robbins did the forward. It's been out since 2007. Dr. Bradley Nelson is in Utah, and he was a chiropractic doctor. But it really has just evolved from 2007 to really 2020 as something just unbelievable. I think it's the next biggest thing. It has been around for thousands of years, but nobody has really quite written a book like Dr. Bradley Nelson. And within that is what's called the body code. And that is what Kirsten is really qualified and certified in both. So she actually helps people do the same thing that she did with herself. And my belief, being 39 and really my experience, is in order for you to be successful, in order for you to achieve and also be fulfilled, we do have to address the emotional side of baggage and trauma. So Kirsten, can you just explain in layman's terms for anyone that's watching that might have anxiety right now? I mean, there's literally a death count on CNN. Every time we go to CNN, there's like, this is how many people that are dying. 100,000 people at 250,000 minimum. Donald Trump just said yesterday in America alone, it's got to give everyone a bit of anxiety. Even if you're a positive thinker, how can somebody kind of get through this time, this very difficult time of COVID-19, through your practice and really just through your knowledge that you can share on this live today?
So basically, as we go throughout life, I believe that we create these trapped emotions. Trapped emotions are basically just harmful energies that you get from your negative past events. And if you're able to release those, actually, let me start over. So when you get these trapped emotions, there are many different things that can happen for you. It can cause you to actually resonate with that emotion. So for example, if you have, like when you were 6 and your dad yelled at you and he had a lot of anger, you could have absorbed that energy from him, and now you are a lot quicker to anger. You're a lot quicker to sadness, a lot quicker to being overwhelmed if you have had that in your life. So all throughout life, if we have all of these trapped emotions, if you go through an event, through a divorce or through any kind of abuse or trauma, then you are more tend to be triggered by that because of the trapped emotions that you have in your inside your body. And I believe that it's not only making you more reactive to your surroundings, but it's also, I believe it's going to cause pain. It's going to cause you to hold more tension in your shoulders. It's going to give you back pain. And so when you release everything like that, so they have this thing called, Dr. Bradley Nelson actually, he didn't invent it. He discovered one of the most amazing things out there right now, and that's called a heart wall. The heart wall is basically when we scoop up these trapped emotions and we place these trapped emotions over our heart, and because of the heart wall, let me just start over. So every person that I have actually helped release a heart wall, they have more energy. They feel less foggy in their mission in life. They feel less numb. They feel a better connection with their significant other. And they actually, I've noticed a lot of people that I've done work for, and myself as well, is their abundance and wealth goes up, and the feelings of anxiety and depression and PTSD, they go away. You become a lot less reactive. So right now, the best thing for anybody to do is first to have a session and get rid of your heart wall, because all those emotions that are over your heart right now are probably making you super reactive to everything that's going on, especially right now. So
let's talk about certain things like in the heart wall. And I'm just going to kind of ask you, you can agree with me, you can disagree. So I'm thinking like a heart wall could be maybe comparing ourselves to others, jealousy, or not letting people in. I look at like interpersonal relationships, even romantic relationships. Let's say somebody got divorced and maybe it was all the ex's fault, right? And I see this a lot in men and women, but I do see it a lot in women, the single mom syndrome, and they never remarry because they just hate their ex, and they'll spend years and years just blaming their ex for everything. And then you see other like jealousy, you see anger, you see anxiety. And, I think the human race is like not lazy. I think the human race is beautiful. I think the human race is unbelievable. I mean, our coaching program is called Inside Out, meaning that God's created us. So we are the image of God. So how can one guy or gal be, a dud and another person be a stud? It's just we all can be legendary, but what holds us back is not so much our skill set or even our knowledge, it's that our emotions. So what really do you think, in your opinion, because you are certified, you've been doing this for 2 years and you have clients, and just even your own personal experience, what do you think maybe the top 3 that you've experienced emotions that create that heart wall that do hold people back? What would you say they were?
As far as the things that hold us back, I think it's just the actual trapped emotions, the heart wall, and I think it's our mindset, if that makes any sense. So
yeah. I mean, what really triggers that? Like when you say mindset, because I hear mindset a lot, and I've been coaching people to unleash their winning mindset for about 5 years, professionally, and then of course in my own business and network marketing for about 16 years. But I didn't really know what I was doing at the time. So what makes someone kind of is it a positive mindset, or is it like a negative mindset? Is it really that simple? Is it more of I got to just think more positively, or is there more to it from your perspective?
Okay, so I think there's actually 2 parts to it. And this is why I absolutely love you as a coach specifically, because for me, I work on the subconscious side. I work on the emotional baggage, the past experiences. We actually have a tendency to not go where we've been, where it's not been safe before. If we have a specific trapped emotion about a specific event, like we're never going to go there. We're not going to go back into that relationship, or it could fall into a pattern where we actually go back into that relationship because we become safe to that. And then the second part is the conscious side, which is your part, which is why I absolutely love you as a coach. And it's been like, for me, just in my business, it's been a pivoting point, because I'm not only working on my subconscious side, I'm working on my conscious side. And it is the positive mindset. It is the reading 10 pages a day. It is all of that. So and just because I'm obviously asking you questions, but from my perspective and being in kind of leadership for almost 2 decades, it really is both. But let me just give everyone an example of what she's talking about. So here we are sitting in our houses, a lot of us. 80% of the United States is, whatever the name of it is, at home, basically. They can't move, quarantine, whatever it is. So let's say somebody's out of a routine right now. So I have my planner here, this leather-bound planner. So the way that you can get into a positive mentality is not only meditate, reading a book or anything. It's actually the conscious side of actually going for a run. So I just literally went for a run around my golf course, took a shower, got ready, and then did this interview. I feel so much better. I mean, just by me running for an hour, waking up and making phone calls. Still, maybe you're working from home, you still have to make those calls. So what have you found on the conscious side, just in even the past 2 weeks for you? Now you're being coached in the Inside Out program, that your routine is getting better, you're getting sharper. How is that also watch this, affecting your subconscious too, organically? Honestly, I feel like it's affecting me in such a positive way. Like I've read books, I've done gratitude journal, like working on myself subconsciously, but I didn't really put it into perspective where it's going to be an everyday thing. Like for me, I had no idea what meditation was until I met you. Like I knew meditation was good. Like, oh my gosh, yeah, meditation is awesome. But doing it consistently at a specific time of day, like this is why, like the reason why you meditate is because you need to be still. You need to whatever you call it. You need to have that. You need to have that stillness, and you need to do it 2 times a day, because If you don't, the world is going to control you and your emotions. You will not be able to control you and your emotions.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to somebody today, and it kind of hit me too. And I've been a believer my whole life, and I think you'd appreciate this. It's like when you read the New Testament and the life of Jesus, Jesus prayed, but he also meditated. So many, many times he would actually have his own routine. He would wake up early in the morning, at dusk, and he would go alone, which is a huge deal. So he wasn't with a bunch of people. He wasn't on social media, on Instagram. He went alone. And this is what's going to blow everyone's mind. So when I talk to like Christians, right, they're like, well, I don't need to meditate. I pray. So watch this. So you're married and I'm married, right? So
Yeah.
imagine you go to your husband and you just talk all the time. You just blah, 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 blah. And then when he talks to you, you walk away. And when I talk to my wife, I just blah, 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 blah. And then when she wants to talk to me, I ignore her. I just walk away. So you have to understand, like, prayer is like that. Like, we pray to God. We're like, God, please this, thank you for this. Please, pray for protection. I pray for, blah, blah. Okay, thanks, amen. But see, meditation is us shutting up and really shutting down. So you need both. So it's like you're now listening. Meditation is just listening to your soul. It's listening. It's being quiet. And many times the Bible says, be still, be quiet. So even now in 2020, right, 2020 years later, it's the same concept as, yes, we pray, obviously, to God, and obviously for that hedge of protection, shields up, etc. But at the same time, we have to listen as well. So I think that's where, if people can just understand meditation as a form of emotional fitness. I hear so many people talk about emotional intelligence. I don't believe in it, because some people are more intelligent than another person. So it already kind of, for me personally, I'm not the most intelligent guy in the world. So I don't like emotional intelligence, but I like emotional fitness, because I can get more fit by working hard on my body. And we could do the same thing mentally. So what are some ways right now, and I know you're in the program, so you can kind of just share with everyone, what are some emotional fitness tips that you've been doing every day? You said meditation, of course we have working out, reading 10 pages. What are some things that you're implementing, key performance indicators that every day you're doing and it's making you strong emotionally?
Well, just like you said, meditating for 10 minutes in the morning and then 5 minutes in the afternoon, just for that morning and then afternoon, just because sometimes you go throughout your day and then you start to get yourself worked up, and then that midday afternoon meditation is just when you're gonna feel better. And then some of the things I actually started doing because of your program is working out. I do not like to work out. I don't like to get sweaty, but I realized that it's actually not just for me. Like when it's for my mind. And then some of the other things is the gratitude. I actually write a gratitude journal every single day, just so that I can not only remember the things that are going on in my life, but it's also to get my vibration higher. And then reading of good books, about 10 pages a day. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've been doing. So.
That's good. And you mentioned something I want to bring up. There's this thing that most Americans, most people in the world kind of depends, because I say America, not just because I live in America, but I think America, even before COVID-19, is such a busy country compared to Italy or compared to Spain, meaning it's stress, consumerism, and go, 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 go. And what we call that is fight or flight. So it's either you're flying by the seat of your pants, or you're just fighting that schedule and anxiety and stress. And of course, people say they don't have time, and that's where excuses come. But really, the greatest thing, and I'll share this with you, and you can talk about it here in the last few minutes that we have. But one of the greatest things I've ever done, and the greatest gifts that we all have as humans, no matter what's going on around us, is to shut everything down. Is to actually shut the technology down, to shut, and I'm saying this in a very respectful way, but shut the kids down, shut the spouse down. I'm not saying like shut them up. I'm just saying like go away, like Jesus had to get away from the 12 disciples. He had to get away from his parents. He had to get away from his brothers and sisters, even at a young age. The greatest gift that we have as humans is we can shut things down even for 10 minutes or 20 minutes or an hour. And then if you're really, really conscious, right? I meditated for 3-4 hours creating this plan that we have last year. So sometimes you'll even meditate in stillness for like 2, 3, 4 hours. When it's like running, you get better and better and better. If you keep running, you're going to get stronger. So what have you learned just from this past 2 weeks of meditation, where you are busy, you have children, you have a husband? I mean, you're very, very busy. Of course, they're home. A lot of moms right now, I feel for you. Oh my gosh, it's got to be crazy for moms right now. It's like school was a great thing because it's like, all right, I don't have to have them for 8 hours of school.
Yeah.
So now it's just 24/7. But how can a mom, especially a mom right now, get away for 10 minutes, 20 minutes and just think? What would be your recommendations for someone that really just wants to get away, think about their life, think about their priorities, and just take a breather and just even listen to God and listen to themselves?
My favorite place to go if I'm like really, really running away from, not necessarily running away, but trying to get away from the family, the kids. If my husband's not around, I go either straight for the closet or I go into the bathroom and I lock the door and I put in some headphones and I literally just sit there and just breathe. Like that is like my number one thing. If I can get oxygen into my lungs and into my brain and into my body, then that is just like 5 minutes. They even have like the Breathe app on the Apple Watch where I can just and just let it go. That is like my number one thing. That's to awesome. Put on a movie for the kids. They're not gonna die.
iPad is the best. They love iPad. The iPad get out of here. Kids Netflix. You got to as a parent. I mean, there's no, sometimes on Instagram a lot of parents want to paint themselves as like, a perfect life and a perfect world and a perfect kitchen. But no, there's no reality. When you have kids, it's like you're constantly cleaning. I'm making macaroni and cheese every 3 hours, and food. I'm like a professional chef when I'm with my kids, all the time. So, but it is a beautiful thing, obviously, being a parent. But I think we also want to be good parents. We also want, So I always tell people you have to be selfish so that you can be selfless. Even on an airplane, Absolutely. It says put the oxygen mask on yourself, and then you obviously can put the oxygen mask on your other. So even in COVID-19, I'll kind of end with this. What are some ways, just from your kind of practice and being a practitioner and a body code, and you've gone through a lot of the different things to have that certification, what would be some tips for people watching this, moms especially, women just like, whether they're younger, whether they're a little bit older than you, just relatability. What's ways that they can catch their breath? What are some I think sometimes women especially feel selfish when they're locking themselves in their bathroom because there's so much pressure on them to be this perfect 1950 housewife. So what from your experience can you just share, that really can guide, mothers out there just to kind of take a breath, take a deep breath and just know that you can't do it all sometimes, but you still have to keep that faith and inner peace in yourself.
Well, it's a lot like you teach in your book. You need to be authentic with yourself, and you're right. You're exactly right. You don't have to be a perfect mom. You don't have to be the perfect wife. You don't have to have the house clean all the time. I mean, right next to me is a mountain of laundry. There's no perfect person. Like, we're all here on this earth to get through life, to make the best of it, to help others. But I honestly, truly believe that just like you teach, like, you need to take care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself first, very first, because if you're not happy, then you're going to project that out to your kids.
100%.
I mean, like, even with your program, like, I can't even tell you, like, 2 weeks into your program, and I am so blown away by the clarity that you've given me, and just like the game plan that I'm actually able to have now. I'm actually able to focus on really what's important, rather than this mountain of laundry is not super important. Like, it's, just and like the mastermind group that you have. I am just blown away by everything that you have, and it's awesome. So,
let me share about that. So all the moms watching, right? So check this out. So here's my philosophy on life. My wife is just amazing. She loves doing that. But at the same time, if you really think about it, that's kind of a waste of our life. Let's just all be real. Doing laundry is a waste of our life. Cleaning the house 10 times a week, it's a waste of our life. So watch this. So imagine, Kirsten, right? You have clarity. You go build one of the most successful body code and motion code practice. You make great money helping people. You hire a maid.
That's on my dream board.
That's all you got to do. You just hire a maid, you hire someone to do the lawn. And again, someone might say, well, why can't you just do it? Aren't you being a little bit lazy? No. What if we just worked from home, made a ton of money, helping a ton of people and help them make a ton of money, and then just relaxed? Why do we have to clean our house 10 times a week? It's every time I clean my house, I'm like, this is such a waste of my talent, because I should be on Zoom like this, or I should be on lives, or I should be coaching someone, or just hanging out with the family. I shouldn't have to do that. So that's another reason that everyone watching needs to get their clarity, get their message, go crush it right now from home. Do things like you're doing. You're following your passion, and you got certified, and now you're getting more and more clients. You're stepping into your full power. So in the last few minutes, can you just share, where can people follow you on the gram, Facebook, a little bit more about your practice, what you're offering today? I know you have a special offer, which I think is phenomenal. So I'd like to just give you the floor just to kind of let people connect with you after this, obviously live.
Yeah, so my Instagram is Kirsten.Morley, and my Facebook is Facebook.com/one Kirsten Morley. And then I also have Periscope. It should be Kirsten-Morley or something like that. And then
how do you spell Morley? It's right there, Morley.
Yeah,
yeah.
And then
obviously can follow you on Facebook.
Yep, follow me on Facebook, Instagram. I don't have Twitter, but I do have Periscope. And then I do have a special offer. I'm super excited about this. The first 5 people to comment will actually get a free body code session or free emotion code session. Wow. I really absolutely want to help as many people as I possibly can, and this is it. So thank you so much, Todd.
Yeah, that's amazing. And for you to do that, for you to offer that, that's 30 minutes times 5, that's like 3 hours, 4 hours of your time. So anyone that is smart enough to take advantage of that is super smart. I know that I've had my own sessions with my friend, but also your mentor, and someone that really helps me and is my mentor when it comes to, obviously, that is Emmanuel Zavallos, one of the top practitioners in the world. So it's just amazing to meet you. It's amazing in the past 2 weeks. I didn't know you 3 weeks ago. And about 2 weeks ago, you were a referral from Emmanuel. And then I got on the phone with you, and you were so energetic. You were just so focused. You were just so open to coaching. And then, of course, you stepped into the conscious side of coaching, and you in the midst of all what's going on, you're like, I'm going to do this. And I tell you, since day one, and we've only been working for 2 weeks, you've just been so focused. And it's kind of my dream as a coach to obviously have a client that not only is focused in herself, but has such a calling on her life that's able to get this skill set, but then take it 10x. Like, not just say it, but actually do the interior work that you're doing and consciously take that to the next level. So I just commend you publicly for just you showing up. And I know you're only 2 weeks in, so what about 2 months in, or even 12 months in? It's going to be a way different story. But I just appreciate you sharing. I know this is out of your comfort zone. It's not like you're a professional public speaker, and like I tell my clients, I'm like, I could easily get big authors, big speakers using my network, and no problem. But the definition of leadership is helping average people perform above average. And I think a lot of times we're all average when we're just starting out. So that's really what leadership is. So I'm obviously leading and wanting to be a better leader, and you're leading and wanting to be a better leader. So I would say the world is average. I mean, the world's not a bunch of, Olympic athletes here, but everyone can be way above average. It's a choice. You have to choose growth. You can't choose to be apathetic and decline. So be like her, Kirsten, be like her. I want to only highlight people on the show that are they have every excuse. Because Kirsten, how many kids do you have, by the way?
I have 3.
You have 3 kids.
Yep,
Okay, great.
5,
So you have
3, and 1-year-old.
5, 3, and 1-year-old. And there's no school, and the 1-year-old obviously doesn't go to school, and the 3-year-old doesn't go to school. The 5-year-old is probably in kindergarten or first grade, and here you are, getting certified the past 2 years, getting clients, being on lives, hiring a coach, doing the work. You're obviously loving wife and your faith. I mean, like, is there any excuses that you could have? You could have a million excuses, but you choose not to. And that's what I respect so much about you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. So guys, if you like this, go ahead and comment. I hope this is good for each and every one of you. Again, the You vs. You show is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 7 p.m. Central. It's for 30 minutes every episode. And every day we're bringing amazing people like Kirsten on this show, just to show every one of you, like, look, why are people waiting around? Why are people waiting for the government 90 days from now to maybe open up? Start your business, start your online practice, get certified in the Emotion Code and Body Code. It's very simple. Discover Healing app, go to the app, Discover Healing, Dr. Bradley Nelson. Hey, maybe you want to be a coach like me. Reach out to me. You don't have to be certified to be a life coach. You really don't. You could just start doing it if you have your own story and you have some courage to go out there and market yourself, and actually you're good.
Absolutely.
So we want to help anyone and everyone that's watching this think outside the box, win the You versus You battle, and kick your own ass and win. Okay. So Kirsten, thanks so much for being on. You're awesome and a very special person. Thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right. Have a good night. Thanks so much.